Hey everybody, Gisele Grenier here from artplace.ca. In today's video lesson, it's going to be a short little project. There is some drying time, so I'm not going to film that. It's taking one of the Book of Backgrounds pages that I don't like and turning it, more of upcycling it into something a little bit prettier. And to do that, I'm kind of pondering some text. So of course I'm going to pull up my trusty old tattered dictionary and I'm going to pull some pages from that, cut some petals. I'm thinking about creating a mixed media type of daisy. Nothing realistic, just something fun and simple, because then you can take that idea and you can kind of branch off into other ideas. So we're going to go down to the table. And this is the background that I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling this background. The back has something nice on it. I'm not feeling this one, so I am going to cut this into something smaller. So my idea is to take this and put some petals and center, but everything will be collage. So there'll be collage petals and the center will be collage with scraps of paper. So I've already torn out some pieces and I'm going to basically just show you how I'm going to do it. Then I'll go off camera and do the rest, just so you don't have to sit here for half an hour watching me cut paper. So I've just got some pages here. I've got some brushes. Brushes, use whatever you have. I've got a bristle and a couple of round brushes. I may use something else. It all depends on what you're working on and the size. For the paints, I'm not quite sure about the paints either. I'll have to kind of feel it as I go. So I'm going to be using, let's get this in the right order. Yeah. All right. So Decor Media Fluid Acrylics. Phthalo green blue, quinacridone magenta, Hensa yellow light, transparent yellow iron oxide, transparent red iron oxide, and raw umber. And I'm going to be starting to add the actual pigment numbers to the paint, so you can have an idea of how I'm doing my color mixing. And again, for this is just how I'm doing it. You feel free to do it any way you want. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pencil. And then typical things, you need palette paper, brush container, paper towels, all that stuff. Now for the collaging medium, I'm going to try with the matte medium. Because this is so thick, I may end up having to go to maybe the modeling paste or something that will actually sink in, because this is very textured. So I'm going to try with this first. And then I'm a varnish. I'm going to be using the Duraclear High Varnish only to varnish the flower petals. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to draw these weird shapes. And all I'm doing is drawing various shapes like this, just making sure that they are all, oh, this is actually perfect. But just different shapes like that, just so the petals are all different. So I'm just going to draw those. I'm cutting this into smaller pieces. And I'll cut this into some ATC sizes. You don't even have to do this at this point. So I've got my phthalo green blue, quinacridone magenta, Hensa yellow light, transparent yellow iron oxide, transparent red iron oxide, and raw umber. If you don't have raw umber, take blue, red, and yellow and mix it together. It all depends on the type of blue, type of red, type of yellow, but you'll get something dark. All it is to neutralize if you have a phthalo green. So basically, you're looking for bright green, some type of red, violet, a yellow that leans towards green, then the transparent yellow and red iron oxide. You know, there's just a deeper yellow, a intense red, and a brown. First, get something going in here because I'm not liking the colors. And I'm also thinking that I probably should have went with an opaque yellow just to neutralize some of the areas. Actually, I'm going to get some gesso and I'm going to show you how you can cover up a background so you can put a transparent layer on top. So what my intention is changing a little bit. And so I've got some white gesso. One thing I noticed, I didn't put white on here. I don't know if I'm going to need it. Well, I'll use the gesso if need be. So I'm going to brighten this area up just a little bit, or lighten the value. So a great way of basically obliterating a background to reduce the amount of optical color mixing, which is layers of transparent color mixing up is just to basically add something opaque. But I don't want to completely cover everything in the back. All I'm doing is I'm just knocking back some of the color. You can see it's still there, but it's almost invisible. Now, if you did cover up your background with gesso, it has to be perfectly dry. And get another brush, and I'm going to grab some transparent yellow iron oxide. And I'm just going to get this part started. Not quite bright enough. I'm going to add a little bit of Handsy yellow light. You don't want to lighten the value of transparent yellow iron oxide with white or with gesso because it'll make it opaque. So I'm using another transparent color to lighten another transparent color. There we go. I'm just going to put that base in here. This will serve as the base for the background. And in the middle doesn't really matter, but I might as well clean my brush. And now what I want to do is I'm actually going to make this up with a smaller brush because I don't want to overpower. I'm going to be using a bully color, which is phthalo green. So phthalo green with a little bit of raw umber to neutralize it. You guys should be able to see that. Phthalo green is one of those colors that's super intense. Just to show you the true underlying color. It's really nice, but it's really, really vibrant. So on my dirty brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit of that mixture. And I'm just going to scumble. So I'm just making random strokes. I'm not painting it fluidly. This is not about perfection. It's just about creating a nice modeled background, which you could then use for any type of art. A little bit more. Because the flower petals are going to be very light, so I want to create some good contrast. I'm going to go into a little bit of the transparent yellow iron oxide right into the green. There are going to be some areas where the petals are going to have little spaces, so I'm going to make sure I have that in there. The yellow, just some spots. Really, you can even use a book of backgrounds just the way it is. I just didn't like the color. All right, I'm gonna wait for this to dry, and then we will go on to collaging the petals to the paper. I'm not gonna use the round brush. I'm just gonna use a flat brush, and just gonna put the medium on there. Oh, and I forgot to draw the oval. Oh well. It's okay, the pieces that we're going to put in the middle are going to be on top, so it'll be all right. I'm going to be putting quite a bit of this, so this will take a little bit of time to dry. So just build your shape. Make sure you get different sized petals. So now that I have an initial layer, and I'm looking here and I'm seeing how I've got some nice outside shapes going on, but this is too flat. So then this is where I can take another petal and just kind of something longer and overlap it. Just to get a nice, some nice negative space, getting that nice flow. Here too even. I can try to take something that I already put down and break up that shape like that. This is probably stuck. Are you stuck? Nope. That's why when using the matte medium, it's really forgiving. There we go. See what I mean? But about changing the outside shape. It's almost like you can draw an outline that won't be nice and smooth. Now, so this daisy is going to be more round. If you wanted to make it wider, just put more of the petals around the middle side so it looks more oblong. I'm liking just the way it is, but I do want to fill in some of these little gaps right in here. Make sure I got a lot of matte medium going on there, because this is also going to add texture to the piece once it's dry. All right, that's it for now. So I'm going to let that dry. Now, if drying time is a problem for you, then you can also cut the pieces out and just use maybe pop dots or double-sided tape to stick them down. To me, I have the time today, so the drying time doesn't matter. So gonna wait for that to dry because there's a lot of shine, especially with the studio lights. So once this is finished, and if I want to add even more petals, I can do that. I don't have to say this is it, done, over and done with, but I can do that. So with all these petals, I'm gonna put a little bag to use for another project. So I'll be back in about 20 minutes. There we go. So I'm looking at this and the shape. So I'm thinking about putting the shape more this way. So that's fine and dandy. I think I want to color. I want to stain these little pieces. So I'm looking to stain a super, super, super light, like a red. So I'm going to make up an alizarin crimson, quinacridone magenta. I'm going to use transparent red iron oxide, and a little bit of phthalo green. The phthalo green just neutralizes the intensity. That's not too bad. I want to keep it transparent, so I'm going to grab the matte medium again. I really want to make this, it's just a stain. Ooh, there's a dried piece of thing there. So don't need a lot. And doing it this way is better than using water, because if you use too much water, you weaken the pigment. So you don't need a lot. And you can't really add white to it because then it becomes opaque, and I don't want to lose the text. And with the matte medium, it'll also take a little bit longer to dry, because what I'm going to do is pick the top petals, and I'll wipe them back. Yes, you could have done this ahead of time. I didn't want to do it that way. So I'm going to take a baby wipe and just pick some of the top petals and just wipe back with a little bit of color. Wipe away some of the color, I should say. So what we could have done was lay down the first layer, then put the paint down, then add the second layer. So that's another way that might have been a little bit easier. Yeah, just like that. And I'm going to let this dry. And then we're going to start taking all the leftover bits from all the cutouts. And you're going to take them and you're going to cut them into tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces. I'm tearing them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take each little piece and we're going to put it into little spitballs. We're going to roll them up into tiny little balls. I never did that in school. I had it done to me when I was in school, but I've never done it. It's just bleh, gross. So just put them into tiny little balls. Again, you can keep this for another project. No point in putting this in the blue box when I can use it. And then what we're going to do, we're going to stain this as well. I didn't want to stain it first because then the paper would be really, really stiff. So I'm going to roll it up. Then I'm going to stain it with a deep yellow. We'll probably use a transparent yellow iron oxide for that. And then when we crumple everything up, it'll hold its shape better because the acrylic paint also acts as a glue. This is a bit tedious, but it's nice to do something while you wait for paint to dry. And for me, even though I've got like serious arthritis in my wrists, this I'm finding exercises my fingers. Feeling a little bit here, so if the paint gets too bad, I'll just stop. No point in pushing through it, or just use my other hand. One of the unwelcome benefits of getting older. I just realized Joe's going to be 60 in February. It's his birthday, my birthday, and Harrison's birthday all within 1 week. When Harrison was little, earlier on when the kids were young, it was a very expensive week. Shandy's birthday's not until July, but now it's just more about spending time together. All Alright, so I've got all my little papers. I'm just gonna get a rough shape going here. So yeah, I'm gonna stain them all. Alright, so for staining, all we're gonna do is we're gonna take a clean brush and we're gonna create a yellow. So you know what I want to do first? I'm gonna take transparent yellow iron oxide and just gonna get the shape built. So you can see I did miss the petals here. I did miss. So while I'm here, I'm going to add one. I knew I was going to miss one. There we go. Just put a little bit there. Okay, so we got the transparent yellow iron oxide, nice shape there. So that's what we're going for. So to mix up the green, let's take the yellow, transparent iron oxide with a little bit of Hansa yellow, and I put it on the white paper just so you can see. I don't know if it looks green in the monitor. And I'm going to take a little bit of water and some medium. Take a little bit more yellow. Now it looks really opaque, right? It's just because of the medium. It'll dry transparent. I'm just going to take the palette knife and I get some transparent red iron oxide. The transparent yellow iron oxide is good if you're getting the shade because you can always wipe it back and it's not going to affect the color too much. The transparent red iron oxide is going to add that shadow underneath all those little pieces of paper. And don't make that oval perfect. And I mean, you can let this stuff dry first and then glue it down. I'm going to get it placed. Let stuff tack up. And while it's tacking up, then I'm going to go find my tweezers. They're around here somewhere. Chaos is here, so I wonder if she's laying on top of them. Stuff's starting to tack up now, so it's easier to manipulate. You make sure you want to work with it while it's wet. If you're worried about the stuff that's not going to stick, don't worry, we're still going to pour. We're going to pour a little bit of varnish, the high gloss varnish, right on top. I'm going to take my little brush and I'm going to take some Hansa Yellow Light. And if your paint is fluid enough, you can just touch it at the top. If your paint is really thick, you'll have to thin it down. And then we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to use some darker colors underneath, and then we're going to use the varnish, and we're just going to do a pour. Any type of liquid will work. Take some transparent red iron oxide. Just go underneath. And with this one here, I would let this dry for a good couple of hours before trying to do anything else. And now I'm going to take a Q-tip and just fuzz out that edge so it's not a perfect circle. I can also take some of that color, transparent red iron oxide, and I can just shadow the petals that are underneath other petals. You don't have to do that. I just want to try it and see what happens. Just fuzz them out. Q-tip or your finger? Actually, could we use a Q-tip to paint this? Nah, no, it doesn't hold enough paint. You can shadow just, or just add a bit of a deeper wash. The petals just fade it out. So it's random. And with the way that I did this stencil with these pixel dots before is I can even take some gesso and dry brush it over so it catches just that. This also deepens the background because acrylics dry darker. And if you find your paint's drying too fast, then use a medium instead of water. And because we have to, basically we just have to wait for this to dry, and I'm just going to edge it, transparent red iron oxide. Not caring about the back, because I can put a label on there if I want. Did I just go into some burnt umber? I did. I went to some burnt umber. That's actually not too bad. And because the paints I'm using are they're not toxic, I can do this safely. Just make sure you wash your hands after. All right, so I'm going to let this dry now. And then when we come back, we'll do the final pour of varnish and it'll be finished. I came back the next day because I fell asleep. So what I decided to do is these things that were stenciled with, I believe it was modeling paste, the black modeling paste in the original book of backgrounds, I decided to highlight them white. And then what I also did is that I took a bigger brush and I came in and I just brought in on some of the petals a very light layer of gesso, just to really make everything pop. And I just then also with the brush I went like this. I'm having second thoughts about this, but you know what? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm just going to do it. Oh, and if you don't know what I just did, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, look up the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. It's something I'm trying. It's helping. All right, so I'm going to take this varnish. And I'm just thinking now I should have used the heavy gel medium. That's what I should have used. But the varnish, you know what? It's just a mixed media piece. If it doesn't work, the biggest thing wasted is my time. And if you're watching this video, then it worked. And now what I'm going to varnish everything. I'm not varnishing the background though. That is kind of cool. This is not at all what I expected. This turned out to be really, really nice. Sometimes that inner critic really causes havoc with your creativity. You don't really want to do that, do you? You want to do that? Are you sure? Like I said, what's the worst thing that'll happen if it doesn't work? I think you're a better artist if you make mistakes. You're a better person if you make mistakes. Because that's how you learn and how you grow. If everything went perfectly, wouldn't that be boring? Wouldn't it? Like, make mistakes, learn, take what you've learned from that mistake, and then you can apply it to doing something differently. Voila. I'm done. Here. There you go. Isn't that cute? That is adorable. All right, so if I wanted to varnish the rest of it, I would varnish it with the ultra matte varnish. I'm going to leave it the way it is. And then when it dries, I'll see what it looks like. But the picture that you'll see, it'll be fully dried. All right, so what do you think? Is this something you try? My scrap papers and crumpling and putting them in the middle? I'd love to hear from you. Have you tried this particular Book of Backgrounds piece? And would you consider trying to do this little project as a way to upcycle the piece? So let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to check the description for a surprise. So comment below, check the description for the surprise. Thumbs up if you liked the video, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. if sometimes the notifications aren't going out, so you can always hop on over to artplace.ca, and on the right side there's a opt-in for my Creative Insider, which is a weekly email that I send out to everybody with freebies and updates and prizes and contests and all that stuff. So check that out. I gotta go feed these guys. So I'll let this dry, and then you'll see the picture of what it looks like when it's finished. And I'm gonna clean up, go feed the animals, and then I'm going to probably have date night with Joe. That'll be fun. We'll be watching TV. All right, you guys, I will see you next time. Until then, stay inspired.